Hey neighbor, today Mother Hoss and I are talking about watermelons. It's my favorite time of the year when we start growing watermelons. Well, here we are in March, and it's almost to the end of March, and it's time for us in Zone 9 here to be getting our watermelons in the ground, probably about the end of this month, 1st of April.
It's going by fast.
It's going by fast, and I've often said watermelons is in my top 5 things I love to grow in the garden. And I don't know why it is. I guess it's because I love to eat them so much, but I love growing watermelons. It's there. It's not above corn. It's below corn, but it's in my top 5. Tomatoes, corn, and watermelons is probably pretty close to where it is. A lot of people don't grow watermelons in the garden, and the reason is because they're not easy to grow. They take a lot of space. But we're going to be talking about today maybe some hints and tricks to help you be successful at growing watermelons. Because a small garden is kind of tough for it, but if you got room for it, it's definitely worth it.
Definitely.
All right, so we got some things to go with. First, folks, we still got turmeric. We got turmeric in, and we're shipping turmeric out. Man, it's pretty too. Had a couple of people email me and tell me some of the nicest turmeric they've ever seen. And this stuff stores really good. So if you're not ready to plant it, you can store it for a few days.
I had a question about planting it. Do you plant it up or sideways?
Sideways. Lay it down sideways. Yep, lay it down sideways, just like this right here, and plant it. It's going to take a few days for it to come up. And late this fall, you should be able to have a good turmeric harvest. Likes a little shade. I found that out last year. It likes good rich soil. But grows good. Kind of looks like one of the house plants. Don't you think the foliage does? Yeah. What else we got going on?
Got some new merch in.
Yeah.
So we got 3 shirts? Did I get them all? So we got Hey Neighbor.
Yep. And the front of this has got nothing on it. I thought it did Hoss. Then we got
That's
Grow
the
Like a
front.
Hoss.
Yeah.
This is the front, excuse me.
That is the front. And on this one is the back. And it's got Hoss on the front.
Yep. And we got ones that, oh boy, there's always got to be one in the group there. Well, that won't even stay up with it.
I like this one.
Hoeing ain't easy.
Yeah. I'm just making a mess.
Yes, you are. You done dipped your stuff went over there.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Anyway, we got some new shirts in, and evidently nobody around here wears an XX large. So all these shirts were ordered up to extra large.
Oh.
Unbeknownst to them, real men, as I told the ladies upstairs that ordered the shirts, I said real men wear XL large. So I don't have a shirt I can wear. Me and a couple more guys here, XX, me and a couple of other guys here are waiting on the XX large to come in. I told them, I said, real men wear XX large. So we're waiting on those.
So you don't have a shirt?
I don't have a shirt yet. So we're waiting on those. Got to get those in. I give them the mandate. I said, y'all got to order some shirts for us big boys. So we got those coming in. Pepper plants, tomato plants, folks. We still got those available for sale. We're going to have them for the next few weeks. They're looking really good. The plants are really looking good this year. So we got those in. So we'll be selling those. We'll be updating inventory every Friday. It looks like for the next week and a half, we're going to be good through the week.
Not run out.
Not run out, I think, but
we're not shipping toward the end of the week.
No, we're just shipping Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays, where you'll have your plants by the weekend there, and you can get them in the ground or repot them up. If it's not time for you to plant them, just simply repot them up. They'll be fine. That's what I've done a couple of times. So those are looking good. We got the Hossinator, Red Snapper, Shelby, and Butterboard tomato. Of course, we got jalapeno bell, poblano, and banana pepper plants. So check those out if you're needing some plants. And like I said, we'll have them for the next few weeks. So, but it's watermelon time.
Watermelon time.
So I didn't bring them in, but I'm growing something special for you this year, just for you, an unusual type melon that we normally don't grow but now we'll go over that a little bit later. But I'm growing you something special this year, just for you.
That's right.
These right here are watermelon plants, folks. And this is, I got 3 flats of watermelons growing in my greenhouse.
And these
Whoa,
were
whoa, whoa,
planted.
whoa, 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 whoa.
I'm seeing where they were planted.
Okay, thanks not on there.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I wrote it on there.
Oh, you did?
When
You
I
planted those, didn't you?
planted
I
them.
forgot that. Turn that light around. I don't want nobody to see what kind of it is.
Okay.
The variety it is. Turn the thing around. That is a variety that we're growing that we don't carry. The breeder sent me some, and I'm growing these out for the first time this year. This is a smaller type watermelon. It's got a really good name. Can highly recommend it to us. I seen these down in Fort Myers at the field trials down there in Fort Myers, Florida, back during the fall. So we're interested to see how they grow out. I like growing things that's a little bit different this year, but we're going to go over watermelon varieties days that we carry and tell you the attributes of each one, kind of help you decide which watermelon you want to grow. Also, we're talking about cantaloupes and other type melons, because believe it or not, there is a lot of different kind of melons out there.
And people like cantaloupe, unlike you.
I don't like cantaloupe.
Yeah. And therefore you don't talk about it very much.
I don't talk about it, and therefore honeydews, I don't talk about those a lot, but there is a big push now for people wanting honeydews. In the supermarkets and things like that, there's a lot of demand for honeydews. We got a few on our site. I'm not real familiar with them, but we're going to talk about some of them today.
Sweet potato slips. Still.
Sweet potato slips pre-sale, so you order those, get those are coming, and you'll be good. All right, we got to do knife of the week, and I'm pretty sure I hadn't done this one before, but I'm going to tell y'all about. And the reason I'm going to tell you about this is the one I'm toting today. This knife right here is an Essie. E-S-E-E is the brand name. It's an American-made knife here, and it's a little kydex sheath there. I call this like a little neck knife, but I stick it in my side pocket of my overalls. That's the reason. You can get it with a little belt clip on there, whatever. But this is a short little knife here, $10.95 steel, American made. These are really good knives for the money, easy to sharpen right there. Essie knives, they make all different kinds. Lord have mercy, I must have 7 or 8 different ones that they make. I find myself toting this more than I do any of the rest of them. I think it's just because it's small and put in your pocket. Now, when we go fishing, what I'll do, see how it snaps right there? I put a lanyard in right there and tote it around my neck so I can get to it real quick. So I can cut that line or whatever. So you can use it as a neck knife or a little pocket knife here. Essie, check them out, folks, if you ain't never heard of them before. E-S-E-E knives. USA made, very reasonable knives. So it's one of my go-to brands there. All right, so let's talk about watermelons. Now, first of all, let's talk about raised beds or growing watermelons in containers. I don't think watermelons or any type of melons should be grown in a container. Now, I know some of y'all probably done it before.
I've done it.
You did it before? In your raised beds?
I grew some yellow.
Yellow dog. No?
No, it was seedless, wasn't it? I grew seedless, and
Yes,
I
you
had
did.
some sangria in there.
So
And
how
they
did
did well.
So how did it work? You don't feel like they got out of control for you?
It was in my back bed, so I tried to encourage the leaves to go behind that bed.
You mean the runners?
The runners.
You took the runners and folded them back over. So one thing you could do, and I've done this before, if you got an area that you're growing watermelons, if you've never grown watermelons before, you know they vine really bad and run. You can take those vines, as she did, and take them and reroute them back in there, or you can simply take a machete and chop them off. And that'll keep them from coming out more. And what they'll do is they'll kind of sucker out, or they'll run back out again. You just keep doing that, and they get bushier and bushier inside that perimeter there. I do that all the time in my spots, because if you don't, they will get out of control with you. I learned that from the commercial guys. So go in there and cut them. If you don't want them to come out of a particular area and you want to keep them contained, it's no problem. They actually kind of like that, is cutting them there off and keeping them in. I've started doing that the last 3 or 4 years, because the farmers take a hair and run down through there where they don't want them to come out, like the rose, and they cut them off. And it causes that vine to get bushier, therefore hiding the watermelon more and keeping the sun scald off of it.
Interesting.
What are some do's and don'ts of planting watermelons? Now, you talked about raised beds. Now, I'm not a proponent of growing on raised beds, but you were successful at it.
I have to go back and look at that video, but I think I had, how long was that bed?
32 feet.
Yeah. I probably got 15 or 16 watermelons out of it. I mean, it did really
4 foot by
well.
32 foot long. Wow.
I had planted intermixed some strawberries, so as the strawberries were on their way out.
Companion planting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't support them with anything. If there was one growing out of the bed, I'd pick it up and put it back in there.
So you made sure the watermelons didn't start growing outside. You moved them in. Yeah, I can see that. I think if you're going to grow them in raised beds, you probably want some of the smaller watermelons. I think they would be
Some of
more
the icebox.
icebox type would probably be best for growing in raised beds. So you didn't have any issues pretty much. You grew, if my memory serves me correct, you did good on your vines.
Didn't have any disease pressure. They did really well. So, I mean, I think you can't grow these big ones, but the small ones I think are great for the raised beds.
Yeah, so I normally grow mine in a bigger plot because you know how us men folks are. We got to grow a lot of stuff. So the smallest plot I have probably ever done is a 20 by 20 of watermelons. Normally my spots are a lot bigger than that. I grow a pretty good size area of watermelons every year because I love to eat them. I love to give them away. I just love growing watermelons. Now, they are kind of tricky to grow. So let's go over some of the things that you really got to be careful with. And one of them is, folks, you got to have bees. You got to have pollinators for watermelons. It's really important. It's one of the most important
Can you
things.
grow them without pollinators?
Nope. Cannot. And what happens is,
Can you manually pollinate them?
I guess you probably could, but I think that's too much for the average person. Now, what happens is if they don't get pollinated, you'll still make fruit, but they'll be misshaped. They'll look like a little horn on one end. It'll be like a squash kind of. Or they'll have what we call end rot. They'll actually rot off that bloom. So if you get a bloom and you see a little watermelon in it, it just rots off. That's poor pollination there. So it's a couple different things. When you see that, you know you got poor pollination. Now, one thing you could do is get you some bees from a beekeeper if you don't have natural pollinators. One thing I've been trying to do the last year is really encourage my native pollinators because I don't have bees anymore. My bees are gone.
The mean bees?
The mean bees are gone. So I'm going to try to grow watermelons this year with native pollinators.
Oh.
Now I've been noticing I got some super bee flaccidity growing. I've noticed I've got a good bit of bee activity already. So I think I'm going to be okay.
That'd be interesting.
Should you transplant or should you direct seed your watermelons? Well,
if you have time to grow them.
you can actually do either way. Now here in the South, it's always a thing for us. We transplant our watermelons, and one reason is we like to get a jump start on the season.
When is the right time to plant them?
You talking about direct seed or in the trays?
Either or. Put them in the soil. When will you plant these?
Okay, these will be planted within the next 2 weeks, probably within the next week. I plant mine, I can grow these out in 4 weeks in the tray. So I plant them around the 1st of March in the tray. I grow them out for 4 weeks and then I'll transplant them out in the garden 1st of April. End of March, 1st of April. If you're going to direct seed them, I would recommend you waiting till the 1st of April to direct seed them. You're probably looking at about a 3 weeks difference between direct seeding and transplanting. So if I transplant these at the 1st of April and you direct seed some at the 1st of April, I'm probably going to make watermelons about 3 weeks before you. So that's what the time difference there is. Now, one thing about transplanting is weed control of watermelons can be really problematic. It's probably one of the worst things you have there because we can't get in there and cultivate them like we do normal plants because we have those runners everywhere. So transplanting them seems to give you a little heads up on that weed control because you get that plant in the ground and get it growing a little bit quicker than you do if you direct seed it.
What's the spacing?
So spacing on watermelons can be all over the place. Now I normally put mine on 4 to 5 foot in between rows, and if you go, some people go 6 feet, that's okay. I normally go 4 to 5 foot in between rows, and then I will plant about every foot because I put mine on drip tape, and I will plant mine about every foot, 2 foot on in row spacing there. Foot's probably a little too much, but if I got plenty of plants, I'll go in there and do that. Ideally, I think every 2 foot would probably be ideal.
Can you overcrowd them?
You can overcrowd them. That's the reason you want your row space in between rows plenty of room there, so give those vines plenty of room to grow there.
Full sun.
Full sun, don't try to grow in your melons in the shade, it's just not gonna work out for you there.
And you said you put them on drip.
Now I put them on drip, and one reason I put them on drip is because they do vine over so much, and it's hard to overhead irrigation to get that moisture down in there, especially when it gets hot. Another thing too, watermelons are prone to disease. Now we're gonna talk about some disease solutions here in a minute, but I hardly ever do I have an insect problem on my watermelons, but we have tremendous disease pressure on our watermelons. That's the reason the drip irrigation is really good, because it gets that moisture off from the leaf and puts it down there at the root system.
And the rain moisture, you can't do anything about.
And think about it, you're planting on 4 feet in between rows. So if you're overhead irrigation, you're wasting a lot of water. You just want to plant right where that plant's at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I can't remember. What important was
It
it?
wasn't important.
Can you overwater?
Yeah, overwatering can lead to some problems as far as root diseases and foliar disease. If you're doing overhead irrigation, definitely. And if you're doing drip irrigation, you can't overwater and drown them out. So I never like to plant my watermelons on a low spot, because if we have a wet year, that can be a bad thing. I'd rather plant them on a high area and have a drip irrigation so I can run through there and water them when I want to.
What would be some symptoms or issues if they were underwatered?
Underwatered, they're gonna start withering up just a little bit. You're gonna see the leaves there. It's just kind of
Burnt?
well, they can in the hot weather, they can, but you're gonna see them just kind of not grow. They're gonna look a little dried out, I guess, but wilted. Wilted is the word I'm hunting for. So you're gonna see a little wilted. If you overwater, you're gonna see them just kind of lay over, and that's a sure sign you got root disease. And when you get that, it's hard to turn them around.
Might as well give up.
Might as well give up, yep. All right, so what about disease control? You want to talk about fertilization first?
Yeah.
Okay, so fertilization, you can go to our Hoss University and look at our growing guide to get some ideas of how to fertilize them. Of course, we like to shoot it through the drip there. I like to use the 20-20-20 and calcium nitrate. Calcium is important for fruit development on watermelons, because calcium has to do with that cell wall of the watermelon. So we like a good, healthy fruit. So calcium is really important. Maybe not quite as important as tomatoes, but it is very important. That's the reason we like to alternate with calcium nitrate. And we also like to use our all-purpose 20-20-20. And of course, we got to have those micronutrients in there, such as MicroBoost. But you can check out a sample schedule on our growing guide to kind of give you an idea of what we do and how you can do it. And I like to do that all the way up, probably till it gets to start harvesting, then I'll back off my fertilizer just a little bit. Too much nitrogen there at the end when the watermelons are ready to go will cause those watermelons to explode sometime. So you got to be careful not to give them too much nitrogen there close to harvest.
10-4 and disease.
Disease pressure. Now this is probably where I have failed the most at. So disease pressure on watermelons can be catastrophic. That's the reason we like to play on high ground, and you need to stay on a spray schedule with watermelons. It's not near as important for me, for insects, it is disease control. We got gummy stem blight, we got anthracnose, we got all kind of problems, alternaria that can jump on these watermelons and cause issues. I normally do really good with my watermelons till they start producing. And then I lose my vines after that, and they don't do well, and I don't do well getting that second, third harvest. I'm gonna do better this year because I've been watching some other people growing watermelons, and I notice how well their vines hold up, and they get those harvests 2 to 3 times, or maybe 4 times that I've not been getting. So one thing I'm gonna really pay attention this year is staying under a spray program even late when I start harvesting, because you got to keep those vines healthy. If you keep those vines healthy, you can harvest at least for 4 weeks. So this is a couple of products right here that I'm going to show you that works really good. And as with fungicides, you always want to alternate. The reason is because of the mode of action. Number one is liquid cop. Now liquid cop does a wonderful job right here. It's probably one of the most widely used insecticides in the home garden. It's a copper type product. I would alternate it with Monterey Garden Phos. And it's also going to control those common diseases with watermelons. We got a couple more products that work as well. These are the two I'm going to use this year, going back and forth. And one reason I like the liquid crop is it has very little disease resistance there. So that's my strategy for going forward, is to make sure I stay on top of it, keep them rotated out, my chemicals rotated out, and stay on that schedule longer than I have in the past to maintain really good foliage here.
And what do you do about the weeds?
Oh, what are weeds? The weeds are troublesome. Now, we've got a product called Treflan that you can go in there and spray water in on those. I don't know that I necessarily go over the top. You can probably go over the top and wash it in. For those areas there, right after you plant, you can go in there and spray those areas waters in, and it will help. What I've done in the past is just cultivation. And that weeds always kind of get ahead of me a little bit. It's just going to be a normal thing to have a few weeds in your watermelons. But this year, folks, I'm doing something different. I am planting my watermelons on the lazy garden system. I'm going to use that mat that we got for the lazy garden. I'm putting 2 of them back to back to plant these watermelons right here. I got another lazy garden kit I'm going to put in my big garden to plant your melons on. And I think that's going to help me a lot with my weed control. So I'm going to give that a try. You know, I thought about, we always talk about planting a garden with the lazy garden system because it's for the lazy person. You don't have to do a lot. But I got thinking, wouldn't it be ideal to plant any kind of pumpkin or watermelons on? It'd be ideal because we have such a problem with weed control on watermelons. So I'm going to give that a try.
Be interesting to see.
Yep. So let's go over some different varieties to give you some ideas on what varieties you may want to grow this year. Number one, folks, and this is, I'm starting out here with probably my all-time favorite right there. We've got Sangria. Sangria is one of those all-sweet type watermelons. It's been around for probably 25 years. So if you've got a little age on you like me, you're probably not going to remember Sangria as a child because we didn't have it back then. But it is a good one. It's a seeded variety, but it is a good one. Probably as far as a full-size watermelon, I always recommend this is one for people to plant.
That's the sweetest one we have.
Yep, this is a great one right here. Good disease resistant. It's really good for here in the South. Sangria.
Oblong.
Yep.
About 20 to 25 pounds.
Jamboree is about the same size watermelon, and it is the same type watermelon as a Sangria. It's considered an all-sweet. It's a newer variety too. This is one we recommend if you guys up north with those shorter growing seasons want to grow a watermelon. This is the one right here. If you want to grow a full-size watermelon, Jamboree is going to do a little bit better in a shorter growing season than Sangria is. Real similar to Sangria. All right. Deuce
Fantasia.
Now this is a hybrid type watermelon that is a crimson type watermelon right here. 90 days to maturity, so this is going to be a longer type watermelon than one we just looked at with Jamboree. Medium size, 20-25 pounds, looks nearly identical to the Crimson Sweet, just a little bit more disease resistance to it, a little more vigor to it. Congo. All right, I got a little story about Congo. Congo is an old heirloom variety. That's one my granddaddy grew right there.
High sugar.
High sugar content. Probably not the most productive out there, but if you're looking for a good heirloom variety, I got fond memories of Congo.
Did they weigh 50 pounds?
No, then these don't get the real big ones. I don't remember these. I remember these being in the 30 round range, the real big ones.
Documentation said they could get up to 50
They make
pounds.
him, I don't remember them being that big. I remember being a big watermelon, but not quite that big. Good one right here, 90 days, so it's probably going to be better suited for us in the deep south. And of course, we got Mr. Georgia watermelon, Georgia rattlesnake watermelon. Some of you may recognize this as the old time Jubilee variety right here. Now these can get up pretty good size. And this is probably one of the most popular type of watermelons back in the day. Right here, the Georgia rattlesnake watermelon.
So it dates back to 1830s.
Yeah, it goes back a long ways. Good watermelon, to get pretty good size there. And it's a good heirloom variety right there. Tender sweet orange watermelon. I grew this a few years ago. And this is an heirloom. It has that bright orange flesh to it. It's really good. It's a little unusual. If you know, you used
I like that.
a really orange watermelon, but it's good. I would grow it again. I'm not growing it this year, but I would grow it again. All right, Charleston Gray. Now this has been around for a long
Yeah, I
time.
think that's what my papa used to grow.
It probably is a smaller type watermelon. Smaller as far as some of the heirlooms. This is probably one of the smallest of the heirlooms. We're not talking about icebox, but as far as the regular watermelons, this is one of the smaller ones right here. This was the watermelon used for shipping most back in the day because it was a smaller watermelon that shipped well. It's got a pretty good rind on it right there. It has that light green color to it. 85 days of maturity. All right, folks, orange glow watermelon right here. Now, if you're doing roadside stands or you're doing farmers market, this one does extremely well at farmers market because of the color of the meat inside. Has that orange glow, maybe not quite as deep as the orange, as tender sweet orange is, but this one right here is well regarded at a market. I had some that I gave to a friend one time. She carried to a market and she sold out in no time. The downside to orange glowed watermelon is the rind is pretty thin on there. They bruise real easy and they don't do well handling a lot. It's a good garden variety, but it's not a good one to if you're going to handle it much because it does bruise so quickly and easily.
They're not as sweet as the other orange ones.
Yeah, but they really pretty. That's the reason everybody loves them. Blacktail mountain watermelon, a smaller watermelon. Now this is the one we have here. Do you know this was actually bred out of Idaho?
Oh, wow.
And this one right here is probably the best one we have for people with shorter growing season. It's a smaller icebox type watermelon. But if you need one that's going to make in those cool night temperatures and shorter growing season, Blacktail Mountain is for you. People in the south, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you live up in higher altitudes or up north, that definitely is the one I would go with right there.
Okay.
Sugar Baby, Sugar Baby, Sugar Baby. It's
Icebox.
been around for a long time. Icebox, nice. Now we're talking about raised beds. This is probably the one I would grow, or one of the ones I would grow as a raised bed. Sugar Baby's been around forever. 8 to 10 pound fruit right there, easily to manage. So 75 days maturity, nice black outside to it. There you have that right there. Also, if you got raised beds, and we grow this one right here a lot. This is Yellow Dog, about the same size as Sugar Baby. It's an icebox
You're
type.
not planting any of those?
I'm not planting into
No
it.
room, huh?
Yep. 68 days maturity. So this one's going to mature out a lot quicker than most of the other icebox type ones right here. This is a hybrid right here, and it does have some disease resistance to it. So this is a really good one right here. This is definitely on my rotation that I grow about every other year, every 3 years. Yellow Dog, and it's really good, really sweet flavor. All right, there we have it on watermelons.
We do have a few seedless.
If you've seen us, we didn't talk about seedless today because I feel like that's a totally different show. Seedless watermelons are hard to get up and germinate. For the first time, I have been successful at getting a good tray
did a
of
good
seedless
job.
watermelons up. Yep. I've got a tray out there in the greenhouse that I probably got 80% germination on, and I'm just tickled pink. It took me forever, and I really had to watch myself.
You've babied them.
I babied them, but I finally got a decent stand with them, so I'm excited about that. All right, so let's move into some cantaloupes. As Mama Hall said a while ago, I don't care for cantaloupes, but some people do. All right, where's our cantaloupes at? Let's get into Athena would be the first one. This one right here is probably the most popular watermelon grown today. This one right here, if you're going to do a farmer's market, this one ships good, handles good, it's got some disease resistant to it. A medium-sized cantaloupe, Athena. I'm not going to say now, but probably back in the day, you've seen no more of these in the supermarket than you did
And it
anywhere
said
else.
you could grow it in the fall and the spring.
In our area, you could, yep. All right, number 2. If I can find it here, is Ambrosia, which is a good one right here. Another hybrid type variety. It's really popular around backyard gardeners. It has a salmon colored interior, and it is extremely resistant to powdery mildew.
I think it has more meat and less seeds.
Yep, and here is my favorite right here.
Honey Rock.
Honey Rock. This is one I recommend to everybody right here. Honey Rock. It's an heirloom, but it's an All-American Selection winner for the reason of the exceptional flavor in it. It's almost 100% resistant to powdery mildew, so it is a great one. It's not a big cantaloupe, but this is a great one for the backyard garden to grow on a small patch of cantaloupe. It's got a great name too, Honey Rock. Hell's Best PMR cantaloupe. Boy, back in the day, we grew a bunch of these right here.
What's PMR stand for?
Powdery mildew resistant.
Oh, how about that?
Yep. This is a good one right here. Impressed you there, didn't
We
I?
did.
Yeah, this is a good one right here. 85 days to maturity. There again, if you're doing a market farm or growing a bigger plot of it, you're gonna sell some of them. Hell's Best would be a good choice right there. All right, now we're gonna move into what we classify as melons.
Melons. Have you ever grown any of these?
Oh, I'm not sure that I have. Maybe I had intentions of growing some of them, but I don't think I have. And our seed breeders all the time, when we have meetings with them, they always pushing these on me, these honeydew melons. But back when I was coming up, we just didn't eat honeydew
I
melons.
didn't know there was such a thing.
But it's become a very popular thing nowadays with the grocery stores, and when people love the actual flavor to it. And believe it or not, there's been a lot of breeding with these to get some unique flavors to them.
Yeah.
So we got to touch on them. Now I'm going to be up front. I don't know a lot about them, but we're going to talk about them. First one is Delectable Melon. Am I saying that right?
Delectable. Yeah, like so.
All right, folks. This is a hybrid. Here, it's supposed to have superior texture and flavor. Holds well once harvested. Great for roadside stands, and it's powdery mildew resistant as well. All right, Tasty Bites. Tasty Bites. I think Tasty Bites is probably a cantaloupe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why is it not in our
I don't know. It should be a cantaloupe. All right, Tasty Bites is a hybrid. This is a new one for us this year. This is a smaller type cantaloupe. We call it a mini melon. Around 1 pound fruit. Very sweet with a hint of a tropical flavor there.
Ooh.
This is one I'm
Can't
rolling for
wait.
you. I got a whole flat of these
You
ready.
started a whole flat from
I got a whole flat of these that I'm gonna plant in this week sometime for you. 80 days to maturity. Actually, I'm kind of excited about trying this one. I think a hint of tropical
you'll
flavor.
like it?
Maybe. I love mangoes, so
Yeah.
I may think this in. Anyhow, Tasty Bites, disease resistant, easy to grow, and has an extended harvest period.
I think we got 100% germination on
We did. It
those.
was crazy. All right, this one right here is a very popular one. I've not grown this before, but Tracy was a psychologist, goes on and on and on about Halo Canary Melon right here. Very good. Let's see what it says about it. Bright yellow interior and crisp white interior. Excuse me, let me say that again. Bright yellow exterior and crisp white interior. Of course, it's disease resistant. Has fruits around 8 to 9 pounds. So these are a lot bigger than those Tasty Bites right there.
And back to those Tasty Bites. Those would be good to grow in a raised bed
Oh, they would be. They'd be perfect for that.
or
Yeah.
a container. Maybe vertically.
I don't know about that. Maybe 1 pound fruit, you might can get by with it. Lily Crenshaw melon right here. Hybrid, early producer compared to mother Crenshaw varieties. Folks, I don't know much about Crenshaw. Some of y'all out there do. Comment below and tell us your experience with them. 6 to 8 pound fruits, which is pretty good sized fruits there.
It has a spicy, sweet profile flavor.
Yep.
Why would
Shorter
you
growing season. It does well for shorter growing seasons as well. Cooler nights.
Why wouldn't you consider that a cantaloupe?
Because it's smooth skin on the outside. Didn't have webbing.
Oh,
It's smooth out there. That's the reason I consider these other type melons. Oh, let's go to Rocky Ford. Now the Rocky Ford right here, this is what I consider a cantaloupe. Rocky Ford, and this is not the one, we've been round and round with our breeder about this before. I remember Rocky Ford cantaloupe having more of a yellow inside. But this particular one has more of a greener inside there. This is an heirloom variety that's been around for a long time. I remember handling these when we were kids. We grew these right
it
here.
says those store really well because of the tough rind.
Yeah, 2 to 3 pounds, and dates back to the 1880s, way back. And the last one is Saturno,
Saturn.
a hybrid honeydew melon known for its appearance, texture, and flavor. high quality for the creamy, smooth exterior and light green, 80 days maturity. So there you have it there. I don't know that I'd want to grow one like that, but if you have, let us know. Let us know what your experience, and let us know if you like those type honeydew watermelons.
Put in the comments,
excuse me, melons.
what is your favorite melon, or what are you planting this year?
Yeah, a lot of people want to go back to some of those heirloom watermelons, and I get that. But let me tell you, folks, and I love a good crimson sweet as much as anybody else does. I grew them for years. There's better watermelons out there. There's better watermelons, there's sweeter watermelons, and there's watermelons with better disease resistance out there than what used to be.
So you'll put these in the ground in the next 2 weeks,
Yes, ma'am.
and we'll have watermelons when?
June. We'll have watermelons by the 4th of July. Yep. Keep them baby, put them on that lazy garden kit, keep them watered, fertilized, and let them rock and roll. All right, so we got that out of the way. What is next, Mulhouse?
Garden Spotlight. And this is Jessie, and she is a 7th grader from Georgia, and she won first place at her district product achievement in fruits, nuts, and vegetables. She wanted to say thank you to the Robo Gardening Show. She learned most of the information from her speech. I'd like to hear that speech.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Yep.
She said, thank you for the best gardening show.
Cool. Great deal. Thank you, Jessie, and congratulations.
She grew the halcinator and made chili out of it.
Yep, I actually talked to the judge.
I know.
I actually talked to the judge of that right there. I met him at a meeting. He was telling me about her. After the meeting, he was telling me about, he judged a 4-H competition with her there, and she was talking about our halcinator and tomato. Congratulations, Jessie. All right, folks, the old goat. Now, on the set here somewhere, can they see the old goat today? Is he traveling around?
He's here.
He's here. The old goat is on the set here somewhere. If
He
you,
might have took a little detour that
okay.
he don't normally take.
If you find him, put it in the comments below where he's at. And next week, we'll draw for this week's winner. Today, we're drawing for last week's winner. And it is Michelle Smith. Congratulations, Michelle. You are the winner of, what we had of socks?
Hope not.
You are the winner, Michelle, of some Get Dirty socks here. Yep. Send us your information to Grow House at customer service. Grow House customer service. We'll change that.
No, it's not customer service at Grow House.
No, it's what?
Support.
Support at Grow House.
Yeah, I think the old email address will still work.
Anyhow, send us your information. It's on our website down below at the bottom, and we'll get you a pair of those socks sent out. All right, folks. Thank you for joining. Heck, let us know what you plan on doing with watermelons. Are you going to grow some watermelons? What kind you grow? What's your favorite watermelon? Something I love to do when it's hot, and I'm underneath that pecan tree out there, and I sneak out there 2 or 3 times a day and bust me up with watermelon, eating the heart out of it.
He just eats the heart out of it.
Well, I got plenty of them, and I like to share with.
No sense in. And you do not like the seedless ones.
I want the seed ones. That's just a preference of mine. That's what I was raised on. But I'm growing you some tasty bites.
They're not seedless.
No, but I am doing that for you. I mean, you know, you feel like, you talk about me being a little, you know, like I go out there and be wasteful on my watermelons. I am growing you some.
Yeah, you don't always let people know that you're out there eating.
I don't. It's something that I do by myself. It's something. It's a moment I have on my own. I just slip out the back door. I go out there, and if they need me, I'm underneath the shade tree and got watermelon all over me there. So.
And it has 3 or 4 busted open.
Yep. Me and the dog sit out there. Me and Maggie Jane sit out there and do the watermelon thing. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't grown watermelons, consider it. If you do, you'll enjoy them just as much as I do. Now get out there and get those hands dirty.